So in today's fast-paced, moving environment, it's getting harder and harder to have real conversations with real people. This is why we created Iñaky's Coffee Club, so we can sit down and talk in-depth conversations about money, success, what it really means to have a happy life, and really just any topics that we decide are entertaining. Today we have very special guests with me today. Not only are they all successful in their own way, but they're also all of my friends. We have Carroll, Yaklin, and Melyn Yaklin. My name is Iñaky Strick, and this is Iñaky's Coffee Club. And I want to go around the room, and you guys introduce yourselves, tell us what you do, and how we became to know each other. We can start with you, Chris.
Well, mine's a long story, so we might let me go last, but so I don't take up the whole time. But now, Carroll, I'm a builder, entrepreneur. I do anything that makes me money. I will get involved in it. So I try to limit it to drugs, no drugs. But
Yeah.
other than that, I will do it for money. And I've been called certain things a couple times by my wife, but, but that's another story. But now real estate investor, been in the business for about 30 years.
Okay.
So I build high-end custom homes now. So,
Yeah, there we go.
And just enjoy life, man. And the way we met was at a Tony Robbins convention. So
That's right.
We were standing in line waiting to get in, and we were around a bunch of really, really young greenhorns, and we had nothing to talk about with those guys, so we just ended up talking and enjoying.
Yeah, it was one of those like newer investment conferences, and me and you just happened to be in line with each other, and you were behind me and ended up sitting with each other, and here we are.
And Yaklin gave me a book straight up out of that, so I knew I liked this guy because he already had a book going, and and then I read his book had about 3 pages of it, and I said, I'll just get to know him, and that's what we did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What about you, Jacob?
So my name is Yaklin. I am a certified financial planner working out of New Braunfels, Texas, and I guess I would say I'm a real estate investor by default. Through my job, I'm also an investor in the stock market and some private real estate as well. But yeah, I came to know Iñaky through my wife, Melyn. And so what happened was while I was in the Marine Corps, we were moving Melyn back about a year early, and she needed to come back and kind of get the house settled, get our feet on the ground, and so moved her back. And her mom was actually doing a deal with one of y'all's agents with Cooper Sotheby's, and basically told her, hey, you need to go work with this group. And just through time, I think we've ran into this so many times, but we realized that we just missed each other by 1 or 2 relationships throughout the years. Wow. And so the longer we've come to know each other, there's more and more friends that we have direct relationship with, and cool. We just kind of miss each other. It was this last weekend. It was my cousin, right? My cousin had partied with you in college.
Yeah. He's like, can I bring over my cousin? And he brings up over a few people to the house. And his cousin comes in. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Iñaky? Good to see you." I'm like, "Oh, what's up, man?" I had no idea that like we had a connection like that. But it happens often. Oh, yeah. We always run into other friends that we're having similar.
Yeah, yeah. And so, my wife got hooked up with him, and they've been selling real estate ever since. And so, it's been great. We just come to get to know each other a lot better throughout the years, become best friends, and as we navigate our 2 industries, there's a lot of what's the word, cohesiveness, right? That the 2 interlock with each other, and so in a way we're able to complement each other's interests and understanding of how it all works, and just really glad that we have become friends like we have. So
yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Well, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
What about you, Melyn? Tell us a little bit about you and your story and how we became to get to know each other.
Sure. So my name's Melyn. Jacob kind of laid down the foundation there, but I've had my real estate license for going on 5 years now. So we've been working together for just about that amount of time too. So we're located in New Braunfels, and we work mostly New Braunfels in the San Antonio area. We just started a group, so we've got 2 other girls on our team, and so we've got kind of a stronghold.
That's cool, man.
So we've got a lot really coming soon, and we kind of focus on developments, residential sales, but we kind of dabble in a lot of things. So
Got to give
just getting started.
Ethan Myers a
Ethan
props,
Myers shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, so she reached out to Keeper Sotheby's, and I was looking for somebody to come and help me grow what I was trying to do in New Braunfels.
right.
So our manager matched us together. So immediately I will go on Facebook and figure out who she is.
Right.
And I see we have one friend in common.
That's a
and
new
it's this
Google.
guy named Ethan Myers. And so I call Ethan and I'm like, hey man, do you know Melyn? Like, I'm looking for help. Like, do you think she'd be good on my team? And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely, dude. You need to hire her right
that's
now.
cool.
And literally, I thought I was gonna have to go through multiple people to find the right person. She was literally my first phone call, and here we are, almost 5 years later. And one thing about Melyn is that she's very systems oriented. She helps with all the back end of things, and really, without her, I wouldn't be able to produce at the high level that we currently are. Because I go meet people, make relationships,
Absolutely.
network, bring the deals in, and she helps me process them. So really, without her, like, we could not be moving as fast as we currently are.
Yeah, and you guys are flying. You really are. I mean, it hasn't been long since you moved to New Braunfels. So
Well, yeah, and we didn't know anybody. Neither her or me knew anybody when we moved to New Braunfels. And people always told us, there's so many realtors in New Braunfels. New Braunfels is such a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the place where you want to start a real estate business. Well, now we're one of the top agents in town. So
Exactly. You got to think outside the box like you do, man. That's how it works. So
yeah.
I know one commonality that we all have that brings us all together. And I know y'all know what I'm probably going to go at here, but all of us are connected to 111, 1111 of some way, shape, or form.
That's true.
That's
yeah.
true.
So your anniversary is 1111.
Yep.
We met on 1/11/11. His mom and stepdad were married on 1/11/11.
Yep.
It's 11/11/11.
Right.
11,
And then me and
11,
Melanie
sorry.
got married on 111.
Oh,
When
there
y'all
you
met.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
What year did y'all meet?
11.
11.
It
Oh,
was
11.
November
Okay,
11th,
111.
2011.
Oh, November 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. And me and Melanie, we've got those projects. It's 111 Capital now. We have 111 Capital. We have 111 condos.
Yep.
We've got a lot of stuff. So it's kind of cool that the 111 brought everybody to one room. So,
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're so right. We're all connected through the 111. So let's expand a little bit more on that. We have that project coming up in Canyon Lake that we've been working on for several years, laying the foundation down. I think that's going to be one of the most anticipated projects in Canyon Lake because
I think so, because of the amount of work that you put into it already to get it out there. So we've got 22 units, 11 on top, 11 on bottom. So they're 111 square feet, or 1,011 square feet. So everything's 11 on the property. It's a really cool deal. I mean, it overlooks the lake. It's got views out of 22 units. All the patios, the back patios look out over the lake, and it got an infinity pool going to go in there. And we're really hoping to break ground next year, but with this economy the way it's going, it can't buy money cheap enough right now. So, and that's the downside to it.
well, when the project finally does get off the ground, I know that it's going to be a huge hit because there's nothing like it. There's nothing like that modern aesthetic that we're going for. The infinity edge pool, the Canyon Lake views. So I'm very excited for that project.
Oh, I am too, and we've had a couple of hits this year that luckily where we live at is just kind of in a little bubble. I mean, we've got a lot of cash coming in from every other state, and but at the end of the day, the Airbnbs have taken a hit this year.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what we've established so we can retain those properties is to use them as Airbnbs, and to do 22 unit Airbnbs, it is a fabulous idea on paper, but when they're down 52%, it doesn't look as good on paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we know it's going to come back, and we'll break ground hopefully middle of next year, and we'll put that thing out there, and it's just going to
First of its kind.
killing.
Yeah, so guys, be on the lookout for it. And, we are building a list for people that are interested in it. And so if you want to be on the early notification list, feel free to reach out, DM us. That way you can find out when we launch the project, and you can be one of the first ones to reserve a condo there.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you know. You're going to be the first to know because you're going to raise the capital for me.
Yeah, there you go. So Jacob, one thing that I find interesting about you, you previously from being a financial planner, tell us a little bit about what you did before that.
Okay, yeah. So I was thinking about this the other day, and my I guess my career in financial planning didn't really start in the civilian world. It started in the Marine Corps. And so basically what had happened was I was serving as a logistics officer at Camp Pendleton, and the Marine Corps was going to, or basically the entire DOD was going to a new retirement system, and that's what we know now as the TRS. What they had before was what we call in the civilian world a defined benefit program, and so that's basically like a pension. You're high 3 years, and then you get a percentage of that once you hit 20 years, and then a little bit more every year that you serve thereafter. And so then we were going to the TSP, which is essentially just, you know, your 401k plans.
Right.
And so we had to go out, and the Marine Corps had to train a bunch of Marines to go and learn the system and take it back to the Marines to brief them on the advantages and disadvantages depending on what your current pay was, how many years you have in the service, how long you plan on staying in, all these things. And so we went out, we learned it, brought it back to the units, and then I was, aside from like my regular duty, I was named, I think it was called like the battalion financial officer or something like that. And so I was just basically in charge of training the 1,000-something Marines in there of the benefits of the two. And so started there, did that for a year and a half before I got out, and then went into the car industry. My uncle had a Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealership there in Seguin, and that's what moved us back to, you know, New Braunfels.
Yep.
Essentially. And so, you know, I've always said I have two interests in life, and that's investing in cars.
Yeah.
And in a way,
Me too.
and,
Yes.
exactly. We've talked about this many times, and in a way, I mean, those two are going to feed each other.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's, to me, when we talk about like, what is your why? Like, my why is cars. And Melyn's
That's all right, Melyn.
I know
He
this.
doesn't mean it that way.
I know this.
Melyn's is getting, you know, the house and all that, which is all cool. Like, I would love, you know, we're going to have a barn dominium someday to where I can just park all my cars in the living room. But
Well, we've talked about it before where
yeah.
we're just going to have a mansion and you're going to have
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
wing, we're going to have the other wing.
Exactly.
And then Melyn can keep the house in green if she
Yes.
wants to.
It's
but
the condo in San Diego.
the condense, yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I can tell you this, guys. Is I come up with a great concept because I don't want to take care of anything anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to build a set of condos, but it's going to have a 2,000 square foot shop in the back, so I can
Perfect.
have all my cars AC'd, of course.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And I only got a 3,000 square foot shop now, but I'm going to have a 2,000 with my condo.
Yeah.
Condo's going to be around 800 square feet.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, you know, and that could be a whole nother subject in of its own. Just like the way that some of these things can tie you down, and you know the way that our generation is now looking at these things as almost investments and assets, and you know, there's just ways that you can position them to where they, one, don't necessarily cost you as much, but two, it's you actually get to enjoy them and not have to just let them sit, and you know, when they sit they rust, right?
Right.
And so
Well, it comes very handy to know somebody that's so into cars and really you're in the financial aspect of it as well.
Yeah, that's where, yeah. So whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, that's when I moved back to New Braunfels. I sold cars for probably like 2 months, and really just learned the sales process. And then our finance manager was leaving, and so I took his spot, and I did finance for about a year, and really just crushed it. I understood how the banks worked. I understood the value that these things that the finance department could bring. And, you know, in a way it's, you know, I always tell people like that whole industry is just looked so far down upon, but you know, everything has a value up to a certain amount, right? Everything is worth it. And so what I truly love about the car industry now being out of it is, you know, being in financial advising and planning, I'm able to help our clients now. Essentially, I handle all the car purchases for the entire firm. And so if a client is going to go out and buy something, it's pretty much known by everybody, like, hey, Jacob's going to go out there and he's going to do everything for you. And at the end of the day, it's just making sure that people are not getting taken advantage of, right?
And really, like, you know,
So-
there's a section in the tax code that says that, you know, if you're a business owner and, you know, you purchase a vehicle that's over 6,000 pounds, you're able to write off a portion of it, right? So it was literally like December 20th, and like I talked to my CPA and figured out how much I could spend on the new vehicle. And so I grabbed Jacob. We went up to Land Rover, and literally like the next day we were in there. Yeah, I was like, I need it to be 6,000 pounds or more. And then Jacob was much just telling them which buttons to click on the computer.
This guy was like bringing out
newbie.
this guy was bringing out the paperwork, and it was like his second week in the business or something like that, and he was really good.
It was his first sale.
Yeah.
I was his first sale. Yeah.
It was super good for being his first sale, and he was super professional. But he's coming out and he's like briefing him on all this paperwork, and I'm like, dude, hey, like whatever you just learned, like stop. Like this is how you need to do this. This is what all this means. And so we get back to the finance part, and he's just not listening to what I'm telling him. He knows he wants, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
They always know better.
they're trying to
So
sell
Jacob
us.
gets up and he's like, no, let's go back into the finance office. He goes back there with him and it's literally pointing at the screen and saying, no, don't click there, click here.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like sitting back like, this is great.
You're taking
And
care
I'm
of.
just, they're like, sign here. I'm like, perfect. I didn't have to look at anything. I knew that he had it handled. So
The lady was like, I didn't even know that you could do that. I was like, yeah. That's what this means.
yeah, so that was perfect.
Have him in your corner.
Yeah, exactly. We complement each other in many ways.
Yeah.
No, they changed the tax code on the trade-in last year. Thank you, Biden. I guess I can be political on this show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Biden. But anyway, and I went. It was in 21, and I went and I traded in my truck and everything. And at the end of the year, I'm like, I get this tax bill from my CPA, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you got to reclaim that capital gain."
Yeah.
Claim it as capital gain. I'm like, what? He
Right.
says, yeah. You'd appreciated that all the way out. I'm like, I wouldn't have bought one every year
Right.
if I couldn't do it.
Well, I was literally thinking about this on the way over here today, and it's everybody that you see on social media preaches this. Hey, depreciate all the way, and it makes sense,
Right,
especially,
right.
and it makes more sense the higher the tax bracket you're in, right? Because
Yes.
you're taking a cut today, which then in the future you're going to have to recapture, right? And so, but the idea is that the savings on the initial tax break is still 100% way. It's better.
Well,
than
you
the
didn't have to
trade-in.
reclaim it before if you traded them in.
Right.
They took the trade-in away. So you had to reclaim all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Because I'm buying $100,000 truck every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way
and
that the way the trade-in works is,
See, now I'm gonna learn.
what happens is if you trade in at the dealership, and this could be subject to a little bit that I'm wrong, right? but this is generally how it works. Whatever your trade-in is, it reduces the amount that you bought it for, right?
Exactly.
Reduces the new vehicle. Whereas if you don't trade it in, you're paying tax on that entire purchase. So if you buy a $100,000 truck, you're paying the 6.25 on $100,000.
Exactly, and that's what they did. Is they gave me $63,000 for my truck. So, and I had already depreciated that whole 100.
Yeah.
So you had to recapture
So
63.
I got to recapture 63.
Sure.
And the year before in the Trump era, I did not have to do that.
Sure,
Because it was, accelerated depreciation.
Yeah.
Like that, and we're done. So
Right.
it's my fault. Actually, it's my CPA's fault.
Yeah.
that he didn't keep me on top of it because he knows I trade my truck in every
Well, and
year,
that's
every
what's
2
so
years,
important, right? Like with your CPA, it's
Right.
every CPA is going to be different, right? And they have different tendencies, and like sometimes you have to stay on top of them. Sometimes you got to ask them questions, whereas others will tell you, hey, this are the things that you should be doing. And that just goes to say that like in every profession, every team's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
And I think that's where we shine in the real estate industry is that, there's so many realtors out there. I think 12,000 in San Antonio. And whenever somebody does a transaction for the first time in their life with us, they don't really see like the difference or anything like that.
Right.
But if they've done multiple transactions before, bought and sold homes, and then they come to us, they're just like amazed. They're like, oh my God, this is so much different than what I've experienced before. And so I want you to talk a little bit about like the systems and like why is it so important to like have a CRM, stay in touch with clients and just everything that you kind of focus on and help us on with the back end of things.
Right. So I think where we really shine is with listings. With Sotheby's, our marketing is out of this world. I think that is like the thing that people probably remember us for.
Right.
And then with buyers, having multiple people on your team makes a huge difference.
Yep.
And I think we do a really good job about being a resource even after closing. I mean, we've had repeat clients. We've had people that we do business with every single year. So we're really good about just providing value, giving market updates on what they've bought throughout the year, semi-annually, sending reports out. And then, with listings, obviously pricing, we're great at that. And and then just our marketing just sets us apart.
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways to build a business here. You either have to continue to chase new business every
Yeah.
single
Right.
year, or you can focus on the current business that you
Nurturing
have,
what you
nurture
have.
them, continue to add value. Even though they've already closed the transaction, we're still there to help them. You know, like if they need an update on their home value, if they need help with writing or with their taxes, protesting them. So we're continuing to add value to our clients. And what that happens in turn is that they refer us their friends and family because they understand that the same level of service that we're giving them, we're going to give to their clients. And people want to refer people that they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And so now business just comes to us instead of us having to go to it.
Well,
Absolutely.
we were talking about this last night, and y'all's industry is very similar to mine, whereas, you know, the price for service is generally the exact same across the board, whether you're hiring a brand new realtor and she might be, you know, your niece or something like that, and you're just trying to help her out,
Don't do that.
or you go with the Strick group, right? And so when I look at things, I'm very black and white. I don't get really emotional when it comes to the whole money side. And so if I'm trying to maximize something, right? If whether it's my current investments or the sell of a home or something like that, I'm going to go with the best option, right? And so when you just lay out what you get with going with someone like them who has an entire team behind y'all, you know, it's you and Melyn, and then you got a transaction coordinator and you got 2 other realtors that are working with you, versus going with a solo practitioner who, again, is their marketing at the same level as yours? Is their knowledge at the same level as yours? Are they as confident in their ability to sell as you are? And just me knowing y'all, I know that y'all are the cream of the crop.
Well, the kicker is they multiply their time.
Exactly.
So, you know, and they're one team working on one job. So instead of him putting 40 hours in, he's putting 80.
Well, yeah.
And that's
Right.
on every transaction.
And if you're someone selling your home, who do you want? Do you want someone
Exactly.
working 80 hours, or do you want someone working?
Ask
40?
me who my realtor is. And I've been in the business 30 years, you know. So it started out as a friendship deal, but after that, I can't use anybody, man. I mean, and don't get wrong, Iñaky knows that if a realtor brings me a project, I give it to him, right? And I use them throughout the project because that's called loyalty, right? But when it comes to y'all's ability to pick up the phone at 10 o'clock at night and say, dude, I missed your text. Here I am. What can I do for you at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
That you can't buy that, man. You can't buy that kind of service. And that's beautiful. And I told a guy yesterday, I said, look, man, I'm going to give you this job, and I'm going to tell you why I'm giving you the job. You're $2,000 higher than the closest bidder. I'm giving it to you because I buy people.
Yep.
I want you.
Right.
And I know that if you're on my job, I don't have to stress out.
Yeah, and that's a good point, right? In that case, that person was higher. Right. And oftentimes, like, buyers and sellers, or really mostly sellers, they want to go with discount brokerages to save a little money on the net proceeds of their house. But in reality, it's that what you're gonna save in commission, you're also gonna lose in the sales price because they don't have the negotiation skills, the marketing. You're losing time, you're losing money. So really, it doesn't pay to go cheaper. You know, you got to hire the best. You know, it's all going to be the same across the board as far as like the commissions go. They're all negotiable, but we're always 6%. You know, like I never cut my commissions. I know what we're worth, and it's not just me. Like we said, it's the whole team. Absolutely. So it's like we're going to make you more than the 6% that somebody that would give you a discount would make you. So at the end of the day, you're going to end up winning.
Yeah, and realistically, what is a discount? 1%?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I mean, for let's just say $500,000 home, I mean, we're talking $5,000.
Right.
Exactly. And that's the way I look at it. I'd rather spend that extra 1% or 2%, and get on to the next deal.
Right.
You know, because I can make $100,000 on the next deal, or I can wait another 50 days on market. To save $5,000.
Right.
That makes 0 sense, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't, not in my book.
Yeah. So speaking on speed and days to market, you know, there's a thing right now going on where most sellers think that we're still in 2 years ago, where the market was moving like this, right? Yeah. And so everyone right now is looking to see how much can they get. But in reality, there's more inventory now, and the buyers are moving a little bit slower because interest rates are higher.
Right.
So right now, homes are selling; they're still transacting. However, it's those that are priced appropriately, that have the good marketing
Right.
and are positioned correctly in the market, that are selling. So we're seeing homes that are literally selling in the first weekend, but then the majority of them are taking 4 to 5 months. And that's all about marketing and pricing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you don't have somebody top-notch marketing, I don't care if you're selling a shoelace, man. If you're not going to market that shoelace, you ain't selling it.
Right.
And you're gonna sell it at the dollar store at a discounted price.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
at the end of the day.
And people, I don't think people give enough consideration to like holding cost either. I mean,
Right.
if we're talking if we're just talking like the normal everyday American,
Yeah.
it's one thing, you know, your home's already the most valuable asset and probably the most expensive asset in your budget, right?
Right.
And so if you sell a house and it's 4 to 5 months before it's, you know, closing, and you got that money and you've since bought another house and now you're double dipping, I mean, something like that can take an extra 20, 30 grand out of your pocket. And so it's one of those things
Absolutely.
where it's like the velocity, what do they call it? The velocity of money, right? Mm-hmm. It's so important to reduce time as much as possible.
Right,
When it
exactly.
comes
I
to
mean,
these things.
the stock market, they spend billions every year just trying to have a millisecond or whatever. You probably know this, but just to get the information that much quicker.
Right, yeah.
And they pumping lines all over this country just to get information quicker, because that millisecond they make.
It's about
billions.
speed.
Right. It's about being able to make a
Exactly.
good decision.
So, in speaking about speed, let's talk about the speed of us getting properties on the market, right? Like whenever somebody contacts us, like we're able to get to them like right then and there. We do the
Right.
market
Yes.
research, we do the marketing proposal, and we're able to take photos and list a property super quickly. Why do you think that we are able to do that?
I think just our team structure. You know, we have a whole marketing team behind us. We have a great photographer that can get out to a property usually within 1 to 2 days. So kind of initially when we get a seller phone call, we'll do the research on the house. We'll have an idea of what we can sell it for before we even see it.
Yep.
Usually a range there. We get our net sheets, our estimated net sheets ready. So whenever we walk in the door, you know, we can provide that value straight away. I'll do my thing, get all the information I need to post the listing.
Right.
And then we can get photos done. And then usually we have about a week or two that we prep all the information going in. So we'll get all of our marketing ready to go. So whenever it launches, we're going to have, you know,
We've
it
done so
blasted.
much work beforehand. that-
Right.
So time of first meeting to it actually launching, how fast can that be?
It can be within a week or two.
Yeah, yeah.
Within
Yeah.
a week or two?
Yeah,
What-
it
what's
depends
average?
it depends on the availability of the seller.
Okay.
But if everything's ready on their end,
You
we-
come, you look at my house today.
yeah,
And I'm ready.
next week it's on the market.
week.
Next week,
Yeah.
and what's average? Like, what do most realtors take to get that done?
I'm not sure. I don't
Depends
even
on
wanna-
how long
yeah.
they wait before they take it off their desk. and
Yeah,
put it in front
exactly.
of them.
And that's
Right.
a good
And
point,
that's-
right? Because people will get a call in, they'll say, "Hey, we want to meet," and oftentimes they're like, "Okay, cool, let's meet in 2 weeks or whatever."
Right.
Whereas the way we work is we sit at a desk next to each other and we have 4 screens. Phone call comes in, I put it on speaker, she's listening. They're like, "I need to sell my home at 123 Main Street." She's already over here typing
awesome,
research
man.
in
It's
it,
awesome. I'm
looking
telling
at
you.
comparable sales, and they're like, "What do you think it'll sell for?" And she gives me a price, and she's so well trained now and has been doing it for so long that like I trust like what she tells me, and so I literally just tell the client, "It'll be between this range and this range. Can you meet at 5 o'clock today?" And they say yes, and then we show up, and then we actually look at the house, and then we give them the actual range. We come up with the marketing plan, and as long as they're ready and the staging is ready, we can have the home in the market within a week.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, that's why I love you guys. I mean, when I call, I know I got her.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because you can just tell there's a team behind you.
Right.
There's just no doubt about it, because one man cannot do all that by himself.
Right.
It's impossible.
Well, and when I decided to bring on her and like more people, like other people in the industry would give me say like, why would you bring somebody else on? Like, why are you gonna share your commissions? And it's like,
man,
you guys
that's
are
so
not
silly.
thinking right. Like you guys are trying
need
to
an
just
army, bro.
work forever. Right.
need an
It's
You
like
can do way more.
we can do way more
together.
together as a
Right.
team than we can individually. And it's like, yeah, sure, I could earn more per transaction,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's like, who wants to be stuck working every single day, every single night? And even if you do that, I can still do more by working less hours with
Right,
my team
absolutely.
than you can by yourself.
And you still, let's face it, you still got to have a life. You got to go home to your husband. You got to go home to you got a cat, dog?
I got no pets, no pets.
You got to go home to his
to my
club.
son.
We have him. He's our,
Yeah, no, he comes over. We're signing adoption papers. Yeah.
I actually, lived with them for about 3 months.
Yet?
Yeah, we got to start splitting groceries and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Iñaky lived with us for a couple months, and it was awesome for us.
Oh,
too.
I remember.
I don't know if Melyn was as excited as we were, but I remember he comes downstairs one day, and he goes, "Hey, I got 34 tickets between now and next year for events going on around here."
Yeah.
I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So, for like a year after that, we were just going to like whether it was concerts, Monster Jam, like just all this
F1,
crazy stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
F1, like it was awesome.
Yeah.
That was my
I
way
didn't
of-
get the call for the F1. What?
No, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's
it
more
was.
his speed.
Yeah. I was living with them. I was like, I gotta do something,
Yeah,
to
that's
give
awesome.
back,
Yeah.
and just got tickets
that
for
was
everybody.
Iñaky's rent.
Yeah. Event tickets.
And really, it was only supposed to be a couple of weeks while my home was finishing getting built,
yeah.
and so that's why I think she agreed, right? Because it was going to
Right.
be only a couple of
Yeah.
weeks. Well, 3 months later, you can tell she's like,
He
all
picked the
right,
wrong
when's your
builder.
house going to be finished?
He picked the wrong builder, just saying.
Yeah.
No, I like his builder. He was a good guy. So-
Well, so speaking of building, can you give us an overview of like the construction process from start to finish? Somebody that has never built a house before, like what does that look like? And we don't have to go into too much detail, but just kind of like the steps.
Well, we're going to start with this. There's 480 to 500 hands that touch one single custom home,
Okay.
depending on the size. And that's an average size of about 2,500 square feet. So the first thing you do, if you define dirt, okay, then you bring the builder out to that dirt before you start drawing plans, because the topo, especially where we live at, it may look like it's flat, but it'll be 5 feet from the back of the house to the front of the house.
Okay.
Well, that's to cut out 5 feet or to add 5 feet. It's about $40,000 that you add to the price of that land. So it's very important that you have your realtor and your dirt and your builder kind of pick before you even start looking for a piece of dirt. So,
Sure.
but from that point, we bring in the architect, and 2 weeks we can have a drawing because we got a land, we got the buyer, we got the land, we've got drawings.
Yep.
And then we go through the process. I like to take about 2 months
Okay.
with a prospect, on designing everything and helping them walk through all the picks, the paint, everything that I do. That way, when I start my build, I can build it in 6 months
Okay.
instead of building it in 9 months to a year.
Sure.
So I work a little bit different. I put everything in then, and the way I do it, I do not mind if a client tells me in the middle of that process, I do not want to work with you. I found this other guy. I really love him. I said, that's awesome, because that means our personalities didn't match during the 2 months.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So yes, I put 2 months into him. Yes, I didn't get paid for anything, but at the end of the day, I am friends with every person that I've ever built a house for.
Yeah, and even the ones that you haven't, I've seen that, right? Like I've called you to help some clients before, get estimates and things like that, and I see the communications and I see the emails, and he'll add like, even if you decide not to work with us, like I'm still want to be here to help you, give you any advice or anything that you did.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of that abundance mindset, right? And I feel
Right.
like that's something that we all have in common here.
Right.
Like we're not stuck to one transaction, the outcome of that transaction.
Absolutely not.
We're
Absolutely
abundance minded, and we're relationship based, and we know that it will all come back at the end of the day. Everything comes back that you put out.
It does, absolutely. It really does. So, I mean, during the home building process, and for most people, it's very, very stressful.
Yep.
Especially for the couples, because one wants this, one wants that, one does that.
Do they ever want the same thing?
No. The best clients that I ever had is we sat down, we got a budget together in the house. And when we were walking out, she goes, I don't give a shit what he says. I write the checks.
Yeah.
But don't tell him. That's what she said. And long story short, we went over about one bathroom was an extra $100,000 on the house.
Oh, wow. For one bathroom.
For one and it was a screw up. So, I mean, it was, but that was, she, what I found out later on, I didn't know when I signed the contract with him, is that she owns 200 rentals,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, on South Padre Island.
No, there you go.
So she managed that. He was a veterinarian.
She don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, she don't care
Yeah.
at all.
Nice.
So, but that same client, she flew us. She flew me into Mexico, and we handmade tiles and picked tiles, and you know, we had a ball building the house, and we're still
That's
friends
super
today.
cool.
What's your favorite part about the whole build process?
The design.
The design.
I
Yeah.
love the art of
Yeah.
building, and that's why I still build, honestly, guys.
Yeah.
Because
Design before it's actually like tangible, or like
during the
going-
build, during the build, because I love
Yeah.
changing shit.
Yeah.
I don't get pissed off when a client. I look at it and I'll go, man, that's not gonna
Well,
look
you
right. I call
love
them.
you love working with metal, right?
Right, I do. I love to work with metal. So I every house that I've ever built, I've built something with my own two hands
Mm-hmm.
and then gave it to them and put it in that house. So out of metal.
Now, if somebody is looking to, find the right builder for them, it's their first home, like, what are just a quick few pointers that you could say, like, if you're interviewing multiple builders, like, what should you be looking for? Like, what's important to find the right builder for that person?
And it doesn't matter what price point, like your builder, because you got to spend 6 to 9 months with him.
Okay.
That is the biggest piece of advice. Like your builder, and make sure that he's got the time to either A, build your house, or B, his superintendents. So if you find out if it's an individual builder such as myself, even though I have guys working for me,
Yeah.
but I work with every one of my clients. I don't let my superintendents work with the clients because it's my company, you know.
Right.
So it's not a great business model, guys. I don't suggest doing it, but because I do it for the love of the build,
Yeah.
I don't want it's what I got. So,
Got you.
but if you meet their superintendent, because if you're depending on how they run their company,
Yeah.
I would definitely ask, hey, are you going to personally do this for me, or is your superintendent doing it? That's on a custom home, guys. It's a regular house that you're going to go DR Horton or something like that. It's a whole different build process.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
you
Right.
don't have no control.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think any of us play in
Yeah,
that realm.
no, we're
You
specific
get what you
talking
get.
custom homes here.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely just say meet the builder, and if you drink wine, go have a glass of wine with them.
There you go.
Break bread.
Yeah.
And if
Build
they don't
that
have time for
relationship.
that, push them down the road,
Right.
because you're going to spend a lot of time with these guys. So
Yeah, exactly.
and if they can't give you that kind of time, and then that's
Right.
you got to go back to the people. It's got to be people.
Yeah.
I can get anybody can build a house.
Yeah.
And they really can, especially with today at YouTube.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're builders,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But you can't. You got to buy people, man. You're signing a contract for you.
I agree with you. Like
Right.
when I look to bring people on my team, when I look to hire people, like I don't really care what, the experience that you have. Like that's important to some
Right.
sort, but it's what energy do you bring? What
Absolutely.
do we
Absolutely.
get to, have fun with each other? Do we get to, because if we're going to spend a lot of time together, there's got to be good energy going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, today's day and age, you should always hire on personality.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
the
can-
rest follows.
You can teach anybody anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like your team that you're building right now, and because of the atmosphere that you built, you're going to be able to walk away with it from it, and your team's going to police those people.
Right,
They're going
right.
to leave.
Yeah.
Because the team already knows who you are, who
Yeah.
they are, because y'all are one.
Right.
They're not going to make it a week.
Yeah.
I guarantee you'll know in a week whether or not they're a good fit for your team. And if they make it after a month, they're a good fit.
That reminds me, like I just looked up on my Instagram stats. I didn't realize it tells you like how many people follow you and how many unfollow you.
Right.
Mine's always kind of trending up, but I just realized like, oh, people unfollow me all the time, but I like that, right? Because more people follow me that unfollow me,
Right.
and the people that stay, that means that are people that connect with me, that like what I'm doing, and that's the people that I really want following me, and as well as team members, right? To your point, the people that don't fit, they're just going to leave.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's one of the biggest things I admire about you and your team is y'all's ability to break all that down.
Yeah.
And just still drive forward and move at it. So, and you've taught me a lot, man. Since we've known each other, you've taught me a lot about Facebook and how to be in front of the camera all the time.
Yeah, you started doing videos.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Now
still
you're
a
here
rookie at it.
doing
Yeah.
another video.
I'm still a rookie at it, but I can tell you this. I can show you on paper, as the followers go up,
Yeah.
my money
Follows.
follows.
Exactly.
Definitely
Exactly.
trend.
You have a
Yeah,
YouTube
you
channel
can watch
now,
it.
or what do you have?
Yeah, we got everything, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Need
yeah.
to follow.
And Yaklin is just, he screwed me up, man, for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, he really, I would not have done it. When he sold the first house for me, he says, "You want to do a video?" Nope.
Yeah, he literally
I
said
remember
no.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're standing out on the front porch. Now y'all get after it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
walked away.
And now I see you all over Facebook doing videos, and I see your engagement going up. And I'm sure. And the thing is, it's not just about the likes and the comments, but it's
Right.
like people will reach out to you outside of the platforms
Absolutely.
because they saw your video, and that happens to me all the time. They'll reach out and they have a deal for me, or they have a
Right.
referral for me. It happened this morning. Somebody reached out and they started with, "Oh, your video you posted last night was so cool. By the way, do you know anybody doing commercial real estate?" And we just send a referral out. That literally happens every single day.
That's awesome, man. No, it's. I fought it. My wife, she pushed me into a website. This is in 2014. So that's when I got my first website for Carroll Construction. She pushed me into that website. I said, I don't want to do work. I don't want to work that hard, you know?
Yeah.
And she pushed me in the website, and then the county sent me a tax bill off of my website.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, see, I told you this is not a good idea to have a website. So, but I fought it for years, and really what started is we started that nonprofit. So it was like, well, how do you get the word out for a nonprofit?
Yeah. What's the
can't
name
do
of the
it.
nonprofit?
It's a CWR Warriors.
CWR Warriors. And what do you do? What
What
I
we
mean,
do
I know
is-
it, but I want everybody to know about
What
it.
does it stand for, too?
The C is for Carroll, the W is for Walker. And my original race team was Carroll and Walker Racing. So, and we already had a website for it, and we already had fan base. That was the cool thing, is that I had a pretty good sized fan base with my race car. So to transition the CWR Warriors, when I was laying in bed one night going, I don't want to race anymore. I feel like that I've reached at the top where I want to go, and to get to the next level is a whole nother step. So, you know, and if anybody knows racing knows that it costs a lot of money.
Sure.
Then I said, I don't want to do that. I want to give back to the racing community. I want to give back to the veterans. I want to give back to people. And so I woke up in the morning and I said, you know what? I'm going to start a nonprofit for veterans.
Yep.
Take them out to the racetrack, give them a place to be again, and help some of this, 22 veterans a day are committing suicide. And I want to give them a place to be.
Yeah.
And if we help one, that's enough for me. I don't
sure.
care how much money it costs. I don't care what it is. We help one person not put a bullet in their head, that, especially when they've given us so much,
Yeah.
and that's, I don't even know. And thank you for your service, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Well, you have an event coming up for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, it's on 11/11. So,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Where is it going to
Nice.
be located?
It's going to be at Jumbo Evans Field. We've got the whole park, and we're going to have beer. We're going to have live music. We're we're the vendors that we're bringing out. We're not doing little guys. They're going to be little guys there, but we're bringing big names in.
Sure.
And, a lot of it's going to be announced. So I don't know. We got Quincy Todd
Okay.
coming out there. They're going to be the bands.
And
for
what
us.
time?
It's going to be. You can register at 10, and the band starts at noon. So
Okay, perfect.
So what's your target, veteran audience, and are y'all still doing the racing for them?
yes.
Or what is it?
Yeah,
what is it entail now?
what we're doing is every Wednesday we have a veteran night. So we bring the veterans into the race shop, and it started out we were going to work on race cars, and it hasn't been that way. We get in the shop and there'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, and we just start talking shit.
Yeah.
We talk about cars, we talk about women, we get in trouble. I mean, it's just, and when they leave there, they're smiling.
Yeah.
They're happy, because it's got a group of guys. Because when they're in the military, man, they got processes. They're somebody.
Yeah.
And when they come out, man, they're just. I had a guy in there Wednesday. They just dumped him. He didn't even get a paycheck. He got out on August 1st.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a penny or anything, and they don't pick up the phone. He doesn't have no camaraderie, and it just God put him in my path, and me and Melanie, and I was like, hey man, just come out to the shop.
Yeah.
And by him coming out there, he got a job offer from one of the other veterans that come out there, and it's just real cool. I love it, man.
Yeah.
And then the competition side of it, we take them all out to the racetrack, and I got procedures. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a supervisor or whatever above them, to where They're changing the tires on the car. They're checking the tire pressures. They're fueling the car. They're doing setup. I mean, it's just been it's crazy. I mean, this is only 4 months old, so
Yeah.
you know, we haven't even got our status yet, but all the paperwork's in play. Everything's there. The state of Texas already recognizes us as a nonprofit, but it's moving at the speed of sound, man. It's fast.
Yeah.
And I
That's
love it.
exciting.
But we also alternative medicine.
Okay.
So on our website, we decided to give them a alternative way of going instead of surgeries and the VA hospital.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so, but we do stem cells. We got some stem cell research. We got several companies, and I'm vetting the companies personally because I've had stem cells before.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we were talking about that over dinner the other day.
yeah, so
What's that experience like?
very unusual, man. And when we started researching it, me and my wife started researching it about a year and a half ago. A friend of ours, Sean Hart, local musician there, he told me about him. He said, I heard it on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, Mel Gibson's dad, he saved his life, 95 years old, started having sex again after this. I'm like, oh, I want that.
Yeah,
let's
there
go.
you
I never want to stop. So I was like, but anyway, and I have done so much damage to my body over the years.
Yeah.
I've got eight screws in my neck. I got 4 fused vertebrae. I got steel everywhere. And I tore a tendon in my elbow, and I was like, I'm not going under the knife again.
Yeah.
And I said, all right. So we found the doctor, we vetted him, and we went through it, which he was one of Tony Robbins' guys.
Okay.
And so we felt pretty strong about it. And then we flew down there. We went through the process. We flew to Mexico, and we were eating breakfast that morning, and this guy walks by, and I'm like, who is that? Melyn goes, I don't know. So she picks up her phone and she Googles or calls a friend, and this friend goes, oh, that's Tyreek Hill. I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
We knew it was somebody, which Tyreek Hill's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, running back. So he plays for the Miami Dolphins now. He was literally in the hospital bed next to me.
Wow.
So getting the stem cells for recovery.
That's amazing.
And so I felt pretty confident at that point that if the Miami Dolphins send him down for stem cells, and
Right.
Verified.
it verified that. And what it does, stem cells are real simple, man. We're born with a certain amount of stem cells. They age and they fatigue.
Yep.
And when they fatigue, they throw off inflammation markers. Okay, so when you add fresh stem cells back into your system, it goes to those inflammation markers and it just starts healing whatever's there, man. Whatever it finds. Like, I had a needle injected straight into my elbow, but I also took an IV with 250 million stem cells. So
you're very into healing, and I've seen it even at your own home. You have a hyperbaric chamber and you have a sauna.
Yeah.
So
and
what?
a PMF mat too. So
So what's your routine like? How do you use all of those things?
man, if it depends on my attitude at the moment, but since I've gotten the stem cells, I feel like a rock star.
Okay.
I mean, it's literally been 4 months, and the first 2 weeks were hell.
Yeah.
But now I go in the gym and I go at it, and when I do anything, I'm just twice as fast. My brain is functioning well. My body just says, "Hey, you're healing."
Yeah.
So when I work out, I can tear, and a day later I'm not sore.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's at 52 years old. That's saying something, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And it got to where when I didn't even want to get out of bed and go work out. I didn't want to do anything, So because I was hurting all the time. And so it's what I do. My daily routine is I get up on Monday mornings. I hit the sauna. I hit the sauna, and then I do that for an hour at 140 degrees. Then I jump onto the PMF mat, and I've got 2 settings on there. I got a full body, and then I do one for my head for all the concussions and my brain injuries that I've done over the years. But and then if I feel myself starting to get a cold or something like that, I jump in the sauna, and then I get straight in the hyperbaric chamber.
Nice.
So but I do the sauna 3 to 4 times a week, and I even do it before I race, even though I know I'm going to go sweat out, 15 gallons.
Sure.
Because what the sauna does is it brings out all the impurities in your body, and you feel healthy, man.
Yeah, I recently got an infrared sauna at the house, and
Oh, yeah.
I've been using it every single day. You know, sometimes just 20 minutes.
Right.
Sometimes
That's all you need on infrared sauna, bud.
Yeah, exactly. And like you just feel great throughout the day. You feel healthier. You feel like, you know, your
Right.
mobility gets better. Like your brain is sharper.
Yep.
So and then it also helps me drink more water because I'm in there just
Right.
chugging water because I'm sweating it all
Yeah.
out. Jacob and I were in the sauna last night at the gym, and you were speaking about being sore after working out. The only times I get sore after working out is when I work out with him. 'Cause
Yeah.
he does
He
way
looks
more
like a
weight than I do. So I have to try to do as
trainer.
much weight as him.
Yeah.
And so that's the only times I get sore. But last night at the gym, we were speaking about just, you know, as far as financial planning, there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of mistakes people make. And I know that you can't give any specific advice to anybody because it's all very personal and personal to their own specific situation. But what are some just basic tips if somebody wants to get their finances in order? Like what should you start with?
Okay, so first I'm going to start with my disclaimer that this is not personal advice and that these views do not
Are you
represent my
recording
firm.
this? Yeah, Wes. We got it.
No, but I mean, dude, I mean, my conversation to younger people is always completely different than, you know, like the retirees that we work with. But the biggest thing is just starting. And I always just, you know, I always just go back to saying it's a muscle, right?
It is. Absolutely.
And I know that, you know, with y'all being in the real estate side, the one, I guess, barrier to entry for y'all's industry is that, you know, especially in today's day and age and just what the average American has, there's not that much money on the sideline for them to just go out and buy a house, right? I mean, even if it's a primary home, people are having a hard time doing that. So going out and buying a investment property
right.
is hard, right? And so, you know, you can still get exposure to real estate through like funds that we invest in, right? And it's an easier and it's a more expensive way to be able to deploy your capital in that direction, right? But
yeah, more affordable way for sure.
right. And so just going back to the whole building that muscle, I always give the example of when me and Melyn were out at Camp Pendleton. I mean, I was a brand new officer. I don't think the entire time I was out there, I made, you know, more than $100,000, right? And Melyn was out there for a year and a half and just had a job that basically kept her busy and till we moved back home. The idea was we were always going to move back home. So it was like, you know, I was kind of just dragging her around.
Right.
And so, but I came out of that situation and I had more than ample cash to go buy a house. I had ample cash to buy a second home within a few months. And it was only because I started, right? And it's not that you have to start out doing a lot. It's just getting into the habit of doing a little bit. And
Yeah,
so,
it compounds, right? Like you said,
Absolutely,
you started investing when you were 11 years old.
right, yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I mean, I was
I invested, but it was not in what we should have invested.
I have a great uncle that like no one knows what it is, like what he has, but you know, my dad has heard them say that they lived on no more than $2,000 a month their entire lives, and both of them were successful factory workers making, you know, 60 to 80 grand back all the way from the 70s, 80s, 90s, right? And so all they did was stock market, and there's no telling what that is. But you know, at the end of the day, when I first started, we were doing a few $100 a month, right? And then you know, you get a pay raise, and every time I've always looked at a pay raise, one of the things that I tell people is whatever that increase is that you actually get, live on some of it, like increase your lifestyle a little bit, right? Because it's inevitable. You're gonna have that. You're gonna
It's a want.
creep,
It's a want.
creep
You
of
want-
lifestyle, right? Or lifestyle creep. But figure out what part of that increase you want to then add to what you're already doing. Because the thing is I have so many friends that will ask me like, hey, what should I do? And I've told them the same thing for 5-6 years, right? And their lifestyle, and they never really acted. And while they are making more than what they were then, they haven't really been able to fully get started. And so when you finally have the capability and you have that surplus, do you think you're gonna, let's say you have a surplus of an extra $5,000 a month beyond your living capacity, right? Do you think once you come into that, you're gonna immediately start deploying it if you've never done it before?
Right, exactly.
Right,
But
it's
you
a
gotta
habit.
educate yourself.
It's a habit,
Yeah.
yeah, and you have to be comfortable doing it. And like, I'd much rather make mistakes when I'm doing very little than when
Absolutely,
I have the capability of doing, you know, 5, 10, 20, 30 grand a month.
So just get started, get in the
get
habit of
started.
it.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's this thing called dollar cost averaging, which if you're part of any, company 401k, you're inadvertently already doing it. But dollar cost averaging, DCAing, is basically contributing to the market or to an investment. It doesn't have to be the market. It could be to real estate or whatever, but it's contributing every single month, whether or not the market is up or whether it's down. And essentially what that does is it evens out your buying point. And the name of the game is reducing volatility. You can actually receive a lower return to some degree and get a higher long-term return just by
'Cause it's a long
reducing
game,
the
man.
volatility.
Right.
Just by evening out that buy-in point. And so for us, that is like our bread and butter. We want to reduce risk, reduce volatility, and there's ways that you can mitigate it. Is it the fastest way to get wealthy or rich? Absolutely not.
No, none of it is.
Well,
guys.
something I heard a
Let's
long
make that
time is,
straight.
do you want to get rich quick or wealthy for sure?
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
None of it's
Yeah.
it's all a long game, and I promise you guys, I have thrown away and lost more money than you guys have made yet, and I say that loosely because that's because my parents never taught me that principle
Sure.
when I was young.
Yeah.
They never did. I mean, I saw a very successful dad that was a broker, and he had his auctioneer license, and he was a builder, and he was. What I see now is, I love you, Dad, but you were scattered.
Yeah.
And he never focused on one thing
Sure.
until he was about to die. Like 4 years before he decided that he was going to get leukemia and die, he started investing in real estate and holding it.
Okay.
And holding it. And so, and in those little 4 years, he turned his net worth around because of course he lost everything in the 90s. That's a whole nother story, but he turned that net worth in from 0 to $4 million in those 3 years because of knowledge.
There you go.
Because of knowing what to do. And don't get me wrong, you would never get my dad to get in the stock market.
Yeah.
And it's that's a foreign thing to me because I like tangible stuff. I want to see it. I want to go. And I want to be able to touch it if I want.
It's all
it,
understanding it
Right.
at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I understand it very well now, and I'm like, oh man, I would just wish $10.
Yeah.
Back when I was 15, just $10.
Just getting started.
Yeah, get started, like you said.
We were talking about this the other day, and one of the things I told Iñaky was one of the things that we see at the firm a lot is, we have some clients that just have this crazy ability to generate cash flow.
Right.
I mean, whether it's through their business,
Right.
or their ability to go find deals. Like some people just have a knack for it, and that is awesome. But not that because you have that ability does not mean that you understand money either.
Exactly.
And,
There's a
and so where we like to say is like, can you be successful doing what you're doing? Absolutely. You're already proven it.
Right.
But when you can marry the ability with the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
That's when you become an unstoppable force.
Oh, and that's 100% because I wasn't educated growing up. I learned all the stuff the hardest way.
Yeah.
And then when I decided to make a lifestyle shift is when I moved here in 2014, and I had just sold a big company. I had 140 employees. It was, and I didn't make any money. I really didn't because I wanted out of it. It was cash flowing. It cash flowed.
Yeah.
But I didn't make any money. And I had, in 2008, when the crash happened, I thought I was doing pretty good because I had like 6, 7 houses on the ground, and I said, I saw it coming. I seen the writing on the wall. I dumped all those houses for $20,000 profit each. So I had a little bit of money, but my $2 million that I had borrowed was secured again.
Yeah.
I didn't owe anybody any money.
And you mentioned lifestyle shift, and it really is a lifestyle shift. And we're getting here at the top of the hour. So,
okay.
Melyn, take us home with speaking about lifestyle shifting and making a decision of how you live your life. I think that, we've been talking about real estate, we've been talking about investing, we've been talking about taxes. But at the end of the day, it is about your life. And like the way that we operate our businesses is very important for us to, at the same time, be able to have a life. So we go to a lot of concerts, we have a lot of fun, we like to float the river. So how do we balance, and really people say work-life balance. I like to say work-life integration. So can you speak a little bit to that and like how we operate in that way?
Yeah, I think it's all about focus, It's getting up every day doing what you need to do And I think people can get really unfocused. And if you do what you got to do every day, you know, you're going to have time for the things that you love as well, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Taking care of yourself so then you can go out and take care of others.
Yeah.
Right.
The health
Having a
is
routine.
It's important too. I mean, you know, at some point there's going to be a mindset shift for someone, and that's when you stop working for someone and you start working for yourself, right? And what I mean by that is making sure that you're covering your bases to make sure that your life is running the way it wants to be ran, right? And you're not just subject to someone else's schedule,
Yeah.
right? And if you do it correctly, it comes back to them tenfold.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's all about the mindset, because I hear lots of people wanting to come into this industry and different industries, and they reach out to me and ask me about, because now they see the success, right? So
Right,
then
right.
they're like,
Ready
oh,
to
I
see
want
the
to do what you do.
backside.
And it's like, they say, I want to be my own boss. I want to make my own schedule. I want to determine how much money I make. It's like, yeah, you can get to that point, but I've been doing this for 8 years, you know, like not having your own boss can be a detriment if you don't have discipline, because nobody's telling you what to do anymore.
Your
So
own
you
boss,
have to tell
your
yourself.
own boss never turns it off.
Yeah,
your
exactly.
boss never turns it off. When you lay down at night and the green noise goes off, your boss don't ever turn it off.
Exactly.
It
Mine's
just-
always
right.
running, always thinking about the same next thing. So it's like you really have to have that mindset and that attitude if you want to go out and do your own thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
go-
Focus, discipline, consistency, the rest flows.
There you guys have it. So thank you so much for being on the first episode of Iñaky's Coffee Club. I appreciate you guys listening, and make sure to follow, subscribe, and like everything that we post so you can get notified whenever we do more shows. Thanks, guys.